Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Friday, September 18th, 2009. This morning I'd like to go through a small problem that was brought to me in email. That is, here's the workspace. How do I open a new one and then manipulate the text that's within it? This is something I've been asked in one form or another a number of times, so I thought I'd go through that today. Let's open up a workspace that I've saved that has the code that I'm going to use. And it's down here under workbook.ws. Now you might wonder where I found this code. It turns out that if you go and look in the launcher, and this is a good place to look for lots of things, just browse class named Visual Launcher. It turns out that in the launcher you have most of the menu items to open things up. So up here you have Tools, Workspace. What you can do is look around in the browser for the reference to the workspace, and then once you find it, and let's just go find method star work. So we find here help installation, help system. So let's just try that one. And this is enough to get you started. You can find workbook, system workbook, and then from there you can go to class workbook and start finding the code you need. And that's really what got me started to get this. So here I have a title, and I'm just going to replace this. This was actually something from Bottom Feeder because I can open up a workspace from there. So let's just put my new title there. So we have a title, we have a window title, we have a text, we have the workbook, and then we just replace all the text pages with that text. So let's try that up and finally open is just how we open this up. This is because the workbook is being opened in a non-standard way because we're doing this replacing of text first. So let's try that. And you see up here it says new workbook. This is the initial text, so there it is. Now, let's go to book and inspect that. The next question that came up to me was, how do I change that text programmatically? I mean, sure, you can type in here, but how do I change it programmatically? Well, there's a couple of things you can do. One, of course, in this screencast, I'm going to tell you that you can go to book, get the pages, get the first one, that'll get you the first page, get its text model, which is the model behind the text, get the value, and that'll get you the actual text. If you take the text model, you can call that a holder because it's a kind of value model, and then you can just send value to it. So let's try that. This is the new content, do it, and there you see it changed. Now, that's one way, is just to watch the screencast and learn. The other way you can do this kind of exploration yourself for any problem you don't really understand is to take the object in question and start looking at it. So here you might think, well, page holder, that looks like it might hold the pages. Let's double click on that. And here you can see it's a selection and list. The list holder holds a list of workspace pages. Let's dive into that. And we find the value is the list itself. We'll dive into that. We get there workspace page. And from workspace page, you can probably get enough to go look at class workspace page and find what to do with it. However, let's go back to the top here when we were at page holder. Another thing you can do is go straight to the methods tab here and start scrolling through the list and see, is there anything interesting here? Pages. Well, that might be simpler. This gets me the list behind page holder, and that shortcuts all that diving down. And that's how I got to this book pages first, because I know it's a list and I wanted the first entry in it. And then from there, I just hit the inspector again, so book pages first. I inspected the result of that and got this, a workspace page. Well, that's nice. That tells me I've got this text model. Now here in the text model, I notice this is a pluggable adapter. Now if you've been around Smalltalk for a while and VisualWorks specifically, you know the pluggable adapter is a kind of value model. If you double click into this, you find that in here you have a get block, a put block, and an update block. It's a slightly more complex value model than some of them that just have this value and value colon messages, but it still applies the same kind of protocol. If you go in here, you'll find that you can still send value, and value colon is inherited, that's why it's not in this list, but set value is here, and it also uses value colon, which it inherits from up above. So it conforms to the same kind of value model protocol, which is why I knew that I could grab the text model, send value to it, and get the original content, and then I could also send value colon and set the new content. So that tells me a couple of things. First, here in the screencast you just learn, how do I do the basic problem? How do I solve that? Second, if you have a general problem in Smalltalk, how do I figure out how the objects are constructed? The inspector is your friend. You can go through the inspector both to look at the objects as they are at runtime, and then you can click on the methods tab and look at what protocol they support and start experimenting down here, because you can always get this open and start typing exploratory stuff. So this is an instance of a workbook. I can just type self pages to this right here. and do an inspect. And then I can take a look at that, notice, well, I've got a workspace page, double click through that, and find out that I've got this text model, which is the value model. That's how you learn how things work in Smalltalk. Dive into the objects yourself, explore them. So, that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.